Hey, LateCom 2 students, it's Miss Fletcher again. I want to walk through the assignment from Wednesday of this week, which is asking you to expand on your three stories. The reason that I'm approaching this assignment is because it's asking you to insert multiple slides into your journal, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So, just as I would start any journal entry, I go to my classwork stream and I open up the assignment doc from the day that I need to complete independent work for. So I know that is from Wednesday, so I'm going to click on that. And this is it right here. So I am coming into my journal here. I can see that for my test write, I'm supposed to be test driving a few of the ideas from my collection from yesterday. I'm going to start by selecting a couple of ideas from that collection activity. And then I'm going to try to think about maybe what those stories say about me. So I have created like a journals folder in my Google Drive. So I'm going to open that 30 questions document back up, and I'm going to look over the stories that I am most interested in thinking more about. I think about like number 7, my neighborhood. That's something that was pretty important to me growing up. So I'm going to highlight that in my 3 stories. So I know I want to use that. And I'm still kind of processing my aunt's death from earlier this year. That's something that still feels really fresh to me. So I'm going to highlight that as well, because I find that sometimes writing about things that I'm trying to make sense of helps me make sense of them a little bit better. I think that one story that makes me I felt a lot of joy when I was typing it was this reminder of a time when I felt like my friends really appreciated me. So I've selected the 3 that I want to try to expand on a little bit today. So let me go back to my prompt and see what's next. Okay, so I'm going to make 3 separate journal entries, each one talking about one of those specific memories. I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. I can use whatever method I choose. You know me by now, you know I love to type, and begin telling the full story of my first chosen memory. So that was my neighborhood. Okay, so that's what I need to do. Before I move on to anything else, like in terms of 4 or 5, I want to make sure I get set up for the day. So I know that I always will have my journal templates a little bit further down. Just like in the last slide, I'm going to copy and paste them. But if I want to copy and paste multiple ones, then I go over here and I select one of them, and then I press my Shift key on my keyboard, and I should be able to select the other 2. Just like I would copy and paste them if they were single slides, I'm just going to copy and paste them like they are, like I just copy paste the same way. So I make sure I have that little yellow line in there. I need to make sure I'm inserting to slide 5. I do not want to link. Okay, and then I need to go back over here and see what I'm doing. Set a timer for 10 minutes and type about my story. I'm not ready to think about the theme just yet, I don't think. Okay, so I'm just going to set my timer for 10 minutes, and I'm going to type here. Then when I'm finished, I'm going to go down to my next slide, set a new timer for 10 minutes, and I'm going to type about my Aunt Renee. And then my last story idea was my birthday this year. Right? When I'm done, I'll come back and identify maybe some themes about what I'm seeing. I imagine that my neighborhood is going to be something, as I'm thinking about like why I would want to write this story, I would want to write to evoke a sense of pride in where I'm from. So I think I would want to talk about like thematic topics I would want to talk about are like community, because I'm from a really, really small neighborhood in a really, really small town. So I think I would want to talk about like community and maybe like how your family's story can shape your own story. Because where I grew up, everybody knew my grandma, and that really made a difference in how they interacted with me. But my mom didn't live around that area, so nobody knew my mom when she moved back finally. So both of those things were really important in terms of like how I existed within the community. So there are a couple ideas I have for that. I'll probably revise those ideas once I've actually taken some time to write. And let's see. A possible theme for this story is like the importance of family, what it means to show up for people. I think the purpose of this story is, like I said, it would be to help me make sense of this tragedy that my family has felt this year. And I think for me, what would be important and helpful to think about as I write that story is like how we remember the people who have been really impactful in our lives, and how grief shapes our memories. So those are all some ideas that I'm just kind of playing around with. Like I said, I'll probably revise them. Oh, my birthday in quarantine. So this I would talk about like what family means, because then I felt like my friends were like really my family this year. I think there's also a story about like what it means to show up for each other. Yeah, I think those are all of my themes. So right now, my next step is to go back to my first entry, and I'm going to start writing. Sometimes I have a little bit of writer's block. I'm not going to record this entire process, but I just kind of want to like walk you through getting started on it. So I'm just going to start with a few flashes of memories that stand out to me about my neighborhood. And I'm going to take time right now and set a 10-minute timer on my phone. 10 minutes. All right. Ready and go. So Okay, so I've just started my first paragraph. As you can maybe see, when I first started writing, I just started with the image. I just said the tulips planted by the flower bed. And as I like start to shape this story, I go back and I change some things and I try to make it a little bit better. I have about 8 minutes left of writing to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and go do that. The next time you see my journal, all 3 of my slides will be filled out, and I probably will have revised some of my theme ideas. So stay tuned.